This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Ira. Wow. The end of a long season, painful season, the painful realities. That was
not good.
That was really ugly last night, man. I mean, it's been ugly for a while. It's not like I wasn't expecting it last night. I wasn't expecting a 15-point loss. I was hoping it would be like a
competitive
loss. Exactly. Perfectly put. I that's what I was hoping for. Like, all right, the kids fought, they tried, but man, these people are way better, bro. You know, what do you expect? But last night was just they were gutted, bro. They were just absolutely gutted.
You know, it's interesting. When we spoke in our Accurate Pembroke Pines report for the last month, we spoke about what would be acceptable. And you and I, before the play-in round, said, you know what? If they win these 2 games and they get to the playoffs, they'll have made a statement that they're still viable, that they're still competitive, that they still had a playoff season. And they won in Chicago. And they won in Atlanta. And when you and I came on and previewed the playoffs, we said, just be competitive against the Cavaliers. Just show that you belong in this elite group of 16 NBA playoff teams. And for the first 2 games in Cleveland, they actually were competitive. Game 2, last minute, we're right there with them. This could not have ended worse. This could not have left a worse taste in the offseason than if they didn't make the playoffs, than if they sank even lower than they did. I don't know how you wash away this type of taste. I don't know what Eric Spoelstra can say tomorrow when the players clean out their lockers. I don't know what Pat Riley can say afterwards whenever he addresses the media. This is when actions have to speak. This is when, because of what happened in games 3 and 4 against Cleveland, we are doing X, Y, and Z. They cannot come back and say, with a full training camp with this team, once we get it all together, once we move past Jimmy, once we acclimate Andrew, it'll be different. It will not. The Cavaliers are great. The Boston Celtics are excellent. The New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons are on the come as teams that are rising in the East. Orlando is shown against Boston. Give it 1 or 2 more players, they will be right there. Indiana stocked its roster perfectly when they made the Pascal Siakam move, when they located Andrew Nembhard as a gem in the draft, and they've positioned themselves also. Right now, I don't see a better outlook for the Heat than another play-in season.
By the way, Ira, Bam, Wiggins, and Tyler are who they are. And that's what I think most everybody out there needs to realize is stop expecting a star from any of these people. This is why Wiggins has been moved all over. Everybody knows he has talent, but he never really puts it together. Tyler, sure, he can shoot, but he's not. He doesn't have that edge that you need. And look, when push comes to shove, he gets pushed. Bam, God bless him. He's terrific as a supporting player, but if you put him anywhere near a front line, ask you to bail us out type of play, that's not who he is, and that's not who he ever is going to be. And that's really the crutch of this whole thing. You're tied to 3 guys that everybody knows what their DNA is. Yeah, they have some skill, but they're not really stars.
You have a 2, 3, and 4 in a league where you need a 1, and you need the 1 to be the 1.
I don't even know if they're 2s.
I think Tyler's a 2,
Tyler has no balls. He cannot be a 2.
Totally wrong. Sorry, Big O. Wrong for this reason.
Tim Hardaway is a 2. Tyler Herro can't hold Tim Hardaway's jock, dude.
Offensively, he can.
Offensively,
Tyler Herro is a far better player than Tim Hardaway. He just is. Offensively, he is. But if you don't have someone to play off of.
I don't care about the skill sets. I only care about the basketball player.
He's a better scorer.
The basketball player is Tim Hardaway, not Tyler Herro. Tim Hardaway will be tough in tough moments. Tim Hardaway never played defense, but you know what he did for Pat Riley? in here, he got in the passing lanes and stole his balls here and there and left and right, and he kind of helped out a little bit.
Tyler does that also.
As a point guard, we talk about big shots. Yeah, you guys brag about Tyler, please, dude. Tim Hardaway hit some big shots.
Tim Hardaway played over Alonzo Mourning. Tim Hardaway played off of some great players. To me, that's the difference.
Yeah, I know, I get it, but Tim Hardaway proved in a lot of moments that he was a tough cat. I don't see that in these guys. I just don't see that edge. They don't have it.
I just disagree because Bam is not enough of a scorer. Tyler is out there alone trying to do it himself. I do not think the Heat have done right by the players they're trying to cast as elite players. And what they did when they sold off an alpha, which they had to with Jimmy Butler, you and I both agree with that on our accurate Pembroke Pines reports, instead of bringing in a number 2 or a number 1 or a number 3, they brought in look, Andrew Wiggins is a number 4, but he played with the Heat like a number 7. That was the problem. I mean, honestly, let's look at this Cavaliers series. Let's look at the greatness of the Cavs. Let's look at what they have in Donovan Mitchell, even though he didn't play 2 games, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, DeAndre Hunter. So here's the difference right now. Andrew Wiggins couldn't outplay Max Strus, who is a 7th man for the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's the difference. And I mean, I just don't know what the deal with Andrew Wiggins was.
My example, Davion Mitchell showed me way more than Tyler Herro. Way more. And he wasn't playing. He's playing off of the same guys on the court. Same guys. But he came in clutch. He played tough. He played fearless. I need to find more Davion Mitchells, but obviously a little bit more talented. But see, I respect Davion Mitchell, the character, the toughness over Tyler Herro.
Not nearly a third of the player that Tyler is. And you get caught up in expectations. You know what? It's like grading on a curve. So you can sit down and you can say
Tyler's a better talent, but in a tough moment, who do you want? Davion Mitchell or do you want Tyler Herro?
Tyler Herro 1,000 times over.
No. I don't want Tyler Herro at all in a tough moment. Give me Davion Mitchell. He's got.
I guess you're forgetting the 2 play-in games. I guess you're forgetting the games the Heat needed to win to get there. Look, Cleveland is an elite A-level defense on what they did, and when you can focus on one player and not have to worry about anyone else, that's what you get. The Cavaliers couldn't have given a rat's ass what Davion Mitchell did if he got 18 or 20 or 32 or 60. They knew the head of the snake was Tyler Herro. Tyler Herro struggled for one reason above any other. He had the full, complete respect of the Cleveland Cavaliers as the only player on the Miami Heat that could beat him. That's the level he had risen to.
Well, he's not an all-star then. You got to find a way to make plays and make plays off of you, and that's what stars do. That's why we cannot pencil him in as a 1 or a 2 because 1 or 2s will find ways to be impactful either way. And he went into a shell. That's my problem with Tyler.
I don't know if an elite player or an all-star or a star on a crap-tastic roster and rotation could only go so far. We have seen players move to other teams and to step up. He could have chucked. He could have LaMelo balled. He could have Trae Young. He tried to work within the offense and what was given to him. He wasn't surrounded by anything.
Didn't Mitch Richmond shine every year in Sacramento and he was playing with a shitty team and Chris Bosh was taking Toronto
Mitch Richmond in the playoffs? I don't remember that at all.
Or at least close to it, but he was a damn good player with the Kings that once in a while they would be there.
Let's not forget Tyler in the 2 playing games.
Bosh did the same thing on a shitty Toronto team. He was balling at least. If you're a good player, even on a bad team, you should stand out. I've seen that many, many times where guys that are good players, they're on a bad team, but you know that when Ray Allen was on Milwaukee and they were shitty, Ray Allen was balling. He was balling every time. I'm sorry. I just don't see. I don't see a dog.
I think that's recency. If you and I were to scroll back 1 week and look at what Tyler did against Chicago and against Atlanta, granted, not teams with winning records, but in huge clutch moments, including the 2 threes in overtime against Atlanta, there's a lot of recency bias here. You know what? Jimmy Butler wanted out.
That's like the Dolphins. They play great against shitty teams, and then when they play against real teams, they fold like a tent. And that's exactly it. Tyler played well against shitty teams. Then when you played against teams that actually can play some ball and play some defense, El Foldo. I mean, come on, man.
El Foldo scored 21 in the first game, 33 in the second, and then Cleveland sold out because they realized he was the only player as a star player that could beat them.
You got to keep doing it. Okay, so where are they? Like, some guy said, oh, you got to blow it up. Well, they're stuck with salaries. The whole thing of me wanting to trade Tyler, I think Tyler now killed his value now, actually. Instead of building it up, this whole thing actually ended up killing his value, and you're not going to be able to ask for much, even if you do want to move him, because people aren't going to offer much for him overall. Plus, if he wants to ask for a max deal, that has to be like no freaking way if you're the Miami Heat. You're not going to part ways with Ware or Jovic, who actually played well yesterday. Larson. You got some young guys that you can build on, but you're kind of like stuck in the middle right now. You don't really have the ammunition. You're not going to have the ammunition over the next couple of years, and you're stuck with some salaries and unsexy players. How did the Heat even get better?
It takes time, and you have to. You know what? One word more than anything.
Okay, so 5 years from now, when the window will start.
Okay, and what was Cleveland? 22 wins, 19 wins, 20 wins. The result, Isaac Okoro. The result, Evan Mobley. The result, Darius Garland.
They don't do that. They don't do that. You have Eric Spoelstra. He's going to keep you right in the playoffs or right outside of it. And that means you will not be in the lottery. And that means you will not get enough ping pong balls to win and try to get one of those guys in the first 2 or 3, 5 picks. So you're stuck in the middle like the Dolphins, that you're good enough to beat the crappy teams, but you're not good enough to be really in the playoffs. What do you do, Ira?
You get better from within, you develop, and you accept that it's going to take time because the competition has passed you. You know what? You can't recover from a bad move in a day or an hour, whether it's a Terry Rozier contract, whether it's a Tyreek Hill contract. You have to learn in salary cap worlds. You have to endure. If you're asking me, yes. So if you're asking me, are the Heat going to turn it around next year? No, they're not. And their upside, what's the upside for the Miami Heat next year? The play-in. That's their ultimate upside. But you can build from within and add a few more pieces, and hopefully someone is attracted enough or desperate enough. Again, in the Sun Sentinel on Sunday, I listed a bunch of players. There has never been more of an offseason for damaged goods than this summer. Whether it's Zion Williamson, whether it's John Morant, whether it's Trae Young, whether it's Kevin Durant, there will be names and players out there. Does one turn it around? Hey, you can make an argument for that. You have to be prudent. You probably don't have to give a lot for Zion Williamson.
Not one of those guys will make you a contender with the group you have, and any of those guys, not one of them makes you contender in the East.
See, I think Kevin Durant would very short term. I think Bam and Durant and Tyler and a couple of supporting pieces could at least get you to 6 in the East, get you out of that danger zone, out of Boston, out of Cleveland, out of competitive. Again, Big O, it's what do you want? If it's championship or bust, Pat Riley ruined it for all of us, then I agree. You've got to step back into the weeds for a while.
Yeah,
if it's getting back in the thick of the competition because the Heat will not tolerate that, then you know what? You sell out 2 first-round picks. You give them Khalil Ware. You give them Wiggins' salary. You give them Jovic, and you get Durant. Would I make that move? No, I think that's too much for the short term. But I got to tell you this. If you make that move, and Tyler Herro and Kevin Durant and Bam Adebayo are on the court for the Heat next season, yeah, they will be at least 500. They will be contending for that 5 or 6. You'll get in the first round, maybe against a fallen Milwaukee, against a marginal Indiana, and you can be competitive again. So it's what you want. You have to decide what your goals are and what your timetable is. And you know what? The one word I use again, are they willing to have patience?
What do you think is really the best move long-term for him? Because for me, it's, you guys need to be like bad. You need to You need to go with complete youth and try to. Unfortunately, it's not tanking, but you're not going to be good enough that you'll end up with a lot of ping
Big
pong
O,
balls.
two things have to happen for that ever to become a consideration. Pat Riley has to retire, move on to the next stage of his basketball life. Erik Spoelstra has to move into the front office to replace Pat Riley, to bring in a young coach with the patience of not forcing the issue, and then you start a growth project. But as long as Pat Riley's not there, he's not going to sit down with us at the end of this week and saying, when I'm 85, we're going to be back. As long as Erik Spoelstra's there, he's not going to be saying, after a couple of lottery seasons, we're going to be back. So this is not something that starts with personnel. This is not something that starts with trades or drafts. This is something that starts at the very foundation of where this team stands right now. And that's simply a matter of, are they willing organizationally to take a step back? And Big O, like you criticized, this team hasn't and doesn't do that. Often to the consternation of making a Goran Dragic trade after the big three, saying just good enough not to be bad enough, and get those picks in that same time frame that Cleveland got, because that's who they are. So you know what? The Durant trade would be the Dragic trade. It would be just staying competitive, getting those nominal playoff berths like they did with Goran. But you know what? As long as Pat Riley is president, as long as Erik Spoelstra is coaching, they're not going to settle for just being mediocre, for not trying to be better. So I think an organization, you know where it has to start, Big O?
A young star, Ira. That's what they really.
It has to start with the Arrisons, and it has to start with Mickey Arison saying, we've heard this all the time. Matter of fact, we've heard this with Stephen Ross also. Here's my 5-year plan. I know fans hate 5-year plans, but that's what it has to be. And I also know the Miami Heat hate 5-year plans.
Yeah, I mean, just it's sad, man. Sad. What are you expecting tomorrow from the interviews?
Oh, you don't get unshell shocked within 48 minutes. So I think there's a lot to digest right there. But I need to know, does Andrew Wiggins want to be here? Did he find a fit? Does this regimented system work for him? If not, you've got to go make a move. Is Tyler Herro going to accept if he doesn't get his extension right away, like Jimmy didn't get it right away? Is he going to be willing to wait? Maybe till next summer, maybe the summer after, so they can make moves around that. So there's a lot of decisions that those players we talk to tomorrow, Davion Mitchell, is he going to accept a nominal contract, a reasonable contract, or is he going to say starting price at least 3 years, $36 million? And you know what, Big O? Just like they didn't bend for Vincent and Strus and Caleb Martin, and perhaps rightly so, you can't tie up money in the middle when you need money at the top. So there are a lot of decisions that players will make. We know Duncan Robinson is not opting out of his $19 million, but you know what? They can waive him and save $10 million. And I think that's something that's going to happen also, because I don't know what the hell happened to Duncan Robinson this season, but we saw yesterday the faith was even lost by Erik Spoelstra when he didn't play him until the Heat were down by 50. So yeah, there's a lot of player issues that factor into it. It's never just one-sided. What players decide to do will also factor into what the Heat can or cannot do. So we have to hear that as well.
What's left in Tyler Herro's contract? How many years?
Tyler Herro has 2 years left. That's locked in no matter what, and that can be extended. It's to his benefit.
I would have no interest in extending him. If I cannot move him, I would allow Tyler Herro's contract to expire and say, kid, have a fantastic career.
It won't expire. The way extensions work, if you don't extend him, his window opens October. You can revisit it this summer. Matter of fact, a year from this summer and a year from next summer. By then, you'll know if it's not going to work. You'll trade and get some value right there. So it's the question of, here's the difference. If Tyler Herro doesn't get an extension, he's not going to turn into a whiny bitch like another player we know who forced his way out. I don't see.
My point is, there is no extension. The Miami Heat, okay, cannot give him an extension, cannot give him a raise, cannot give him anything. He's not good enough. When the 2 years are done, you need to part ways and say bye-bye. See you later. We need your cap space. We don't need you. you're not good enough to get us to another banner. And that's
Except
about
the
right.
extension right now would be no more than 30% of the cap because of the exorbitant way the cap is rising. So you might say Tyler is not an A-list star. Okay, Big O, I'll agree. You might say Tyler's not a B-list star. Okay, I'll agree. Big O, this is so hard even for us to wrap our heads around. Do you know that a number 4 or 5 player on an NBA team in 3 years is going to be earning $50 million? Not a good player, a Duncan Robinson and a Terry Rozier. What I'm telling you is there is a way to still, no matter what you think of Tyler Herro, to make an extension work that he is paid commensurate with what Orlando Alzugaray actually believes. This is something Bobby Marks and other people who are NBA people outside and inside will tell you. Don't get caught up in the actual number. Get caught up in the percentage of the cap and then ask yourself.
My point is, when you're an unsexy team now, which that's what Miami is, nobody's lining up to come here. No dying to come here. And come on. The proof is in the pudding year after year. For the last 10 years, everybody writes about it and they don't get anybody. And
those were trades that they couldn't. Those are trades they couldn't control. There is no free agency.
They only got Butler because of Wade. You're not sexy anymore. So you know what? Have the cap space. That way, if anybody does become available, you have the cap space to absorb them right away and sign them straight up in an offseason or something.
That just doesn't happen. Everyone extends or is traded ahead of the expiration. Free agency, as we knew it, is dead in the NBA.
Or something like that, instead of you tying yourself up to mediocre salaries.
Let's not go to mediocre. Let's not go to mediocre and Tyler Herro right now, Big O. Let's have some perspective of an all-star season of a guy who won you 2 play-in games and who again, it's all about a
you're like the Dolphin fans that have beaten down the last 20, 30 years with lower expectations. You have lowered your expectations for Heat talent.
I haven't. I'm saying if Tyler Herro is paid as my 4th or 5th best player, I have no issue whatsoever.
Okay, fine. When I get my first 3, then I'll worry about paying Tyler Herro. But for now, I'm not going to use a chunk of my salary to pay for a guy that
you don't have to. You have 2 years to wait.
That's my point. That's my point. I've already seen enough. I don't need to see any more from Tyler Herro. After the 2 years are done, take it easy, bro.
Let's see how the 2 years play out.
You're still hanging in there, thinking that anything's going to change with him.
I've seen Tyler Herro grow exponentially in the past 2 years.
All right, how was Pat Riley yesterday watching Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, I mean, and then Jimmy after the game to say his joy is back. Look, he got put into a position by a player who bent every rules and was allowed to get away with it, and you just can't win in that situation. So he got punked by a punk, and you just move on. He had no plan B. There was no other option. By the time, as you pointed out, he let it get to February, there was nothing palatable at that point. Probably wouldn't have been at the start of the season. So, yeah, they got butlered. So did the Timberwolves, so did the Sixers, so did the Bulls. You knew the toxic player you were dealing with, and you decided that 4 years of that player was worth it. And that was a hell of a 4-year run. Now you watch him go do it somewhere else. Let's see when it goes south in Golden State, how that turns out there.
Yeah, let's hope he gets Hagel there in Golden State. All right, what are you working on there in the South Florida Sun Sentinels?
I put up my season and postseason grades for all 18 players on the Heat season-ending roster, so you can go to sunsentinel.com, see if you agree or disagree. Like you mentioned, Big O, I had a higher grade for Tyler Herro during the regular season than during the postseason correctly. I thought some other players played as who they were. I thought there were a few surprises, but there was work to be done, and that's how I started that story. That you can talk about what's next in off seasons. A lot has to be next for this team this offseason. I think our accurate Pembroke Pines reports will be jammed with possibilities from the Heat because they know after those 2 games against the Cavaliers, you can't come back the same. That would be a slap in the face to your fan base.
Yeah, I'm with you there. All right, follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat, and of course, subscribe to the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Ira, as always, thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great week.
We'll argue again next week and all summer on our accurate Pembroke Pines reports. Thanks, Big O.
Yes, we will. Thank you, Ira. Appreciate it. And of course, you can get electrified. The ZDX is there. And by the way, they have 2024 models. They got some great deals. And you want to take advantage of these deals because the 2025 models they're going to be a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Tariffs. So right now, $439 a month is the lease feature. You can get 0% financing for 72 months, over 300 miles to the full charge. And the charger is really cool because there's a portable charger. You can take it home with you. It's awesome, man. The ADX, right now, brand new sedan that they've got there in the Acura line, $359 a month. Check it out. The Integra 2025 model, 3.9% financing for 60 months, $339 a month. The RDX, my wife drives it every single day, $399 a month. That thing is a tank. Okay. My wife has beaten hers up since 2010. 15 years. So if you're looking for something great and reliable, the RDX is a tank. $399 a month right now. Special financing rate. The MDX Tech, that thing is a spaceship. You can get $10,000 off the MSRP. Tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you, baby, at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.